When I was 18 months old, I got into a diabetic teaching tray in our local hospital. My parents were in the medical profession. My father was a family practice doctor. My mother was a nurse, and I was in the nurse's break room, toddler, and got into something I shouldn't get into, and I swallowed a Klinitus tablet, which was lye-based, and it burned my esophagus, and it combusted, exploded mid-esophagus, burning tissue, and right away it was recognized by my mother, a nurse, that I had a caustic injury. I was immediately taken down to Seattle Children's Hospital, where over the next 5 years I had weekly procedures to stretch out this burned tissue. The hopes were that I would be able to eat again someday. That eventually happened. I had difficulties with certain foods. They would get stuck and I'd become obstructed, and the only way to clear that out was vomiting. And as I got older, the need for intervention was every month, and I would have to go in and have my stricture dilated. So we looked into options and a surgical fix to this problem. And so I had my esophagus removed, and they made me a new esophagus by using half of my stomach and making it into a tube and pulling it up. I remember the first time after the surgery, I was given apple juice to swallow, and tears just came to my eyes because it didn't stick. Like everything else had stuck over the years. It just went down. And I was so relieved. I thought, oh, we fixed this problem. This last fall, I started having a lot more symptoms and problems. I was ending up in the hospital every week, vomiting till I would bleed, and was having other problems with my liver enzymes and being worked up for everything. We finally insisted on seeing a surgeon that was familiar with the type of surgery I had, and we went down to Duke University, and after reviewing some radiology imaging, they said that my stomach that was made into my new esophagus needed to be removed. It was just this large pouch that was sitting in my chest cavity, and it was collecting stomach acid and bile coming up from my intestines and would just irritate and cause nausea and vomiting. We also asked for a second opinion and recently went up to Johns Hopkins, and there we saw another thoracic surgeon that agreed with Duke, but had a different surgical approach and something that would last me longer. They'll use small intestine, the jejunum, and make me a new esophagus. They'll break this down into 2 surgeries. The first part will be removing the stomach from my chest cavity. I have a lot of scar tissue in there. My lungs are scarred. Just a lot of from previous surgeries. So they'll do that surgery. That first surgery will be May 15th, and then 3 days later they'll go in and they'll make me a new esophagus. I'll be up there at Johns Hopkins for 4 to 6 weeks. My husband is taking a medical leave from the Navy to be by my side. We've had amazing support with our kids and financial help for paying for hotel, and I can't imagine being anyplace else and having to go through this. The past 39 years, you know, this just all came down to one instant of swallowing this tablet, and it wasn't neglect from my parents. They're medical professionals. It just was this like tragic accident, but one that was so preventable, and it can happen anywhere. You have to childproof your home. You have to be aware when you go to relatives' houses, the hardware store. It can happen anywhere, and I'm the lucky one, and I've had hundreds of surgeries and procedures, and a lifetime of in and out of the hospital, and I'm the lucky one.